All right. We're live. There's a big loud noise because there's some fuckwit in his Lamborghini outside.
Yeah.
Some fucker's got a Lamborghini with number plates YOLO 1 that is loud as shit. And he's lining up to get out. I don't know what he's doing. So he's going to fuck off soon. So we're sorry that there's a big noise. Boom, boom. Yeah, get out of here. Go.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Do whatever you do. So... Anyway, we're on the stream here, and I'm very happy to have on this Friday afternoon Marianne Ubaleht.
Yeah,
welcome.
That's great. Great to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you could come along. Okay.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yay, we got the people in the stream there. Hi, guys.
Oh, that's cute.
We're going to be talking to you. Hi, Kart.
Hi.
We're here talking. So Sille's gone. She's in Lithuania.
Yeah, she's in Vilnius.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great city, though. I've been there a couple of times. Last time I was there for the Kings of Leon concert.
Oh, okay.
A couple of years ago. So it's a great city, very cheap.
What are you saying about the Lithuanians? You're saying they're cheap fucks?
Well, for...
you can feel like you're going to Eastern Europe.
For a capital, Vilnius is affordable for Estonians. Let's put it that way.
I used to like going there just because they had the KFC, but now we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Have to worry about
it doesn't
that,
matter. Vilnius is nice. So look, maybe Sille can chime in later on. I think she's told me she's listening. So
that's cool. Maybe
out.
she's on the bus still.
No, she said she's already arrived.
Okay, that's cool.
I got the updates from
that's nice.
the how things are going there. So cool. So wait, there we go. Get better in the shot there. So yeah, we just thought we'd do today, chill out, talk, and see how we're going. So you guys are getting back to a Tissident schedule now.
Yeah, we just recorded and uploaded an episode yesterday. So we have been quite off schedule for the last 3 months or so. Sure. Since there's coronavirus.
What? Huh? This is news to me. I've never heard of it.
Never heard of it. But yeah, we've kind of moved away from our usual every Sunday a new episode schedule. So we're trying to get back on it. But since we recorded yesterday, we kind of thought that maybe it's a nice surprise for people to upload the episode right away.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Did you find Sundays were good for you to always do it on? Is that like a thing?
Well, we pre-recorded anyway, so we rarely did it on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But Sunday is kind of, I think our listeners kind of formed a habit out of it, so people were planning their lives around the new episode. So some people are cleaning when they listen to it, some people are working out or walking their babies outside with their carriers. So yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, the podcast has been great for the two of you. Like you just kind of hit something there, right?
Yeah,
something in the middle.
Yeah, I feel so because when we started it, we were both very nervous. We didn't know what to talk about, but we were very into it. So, but now I think most of our stories have been told.
Yeah, right. So you got to find those new stories.
Yeah, it's been almost 2 years now. So in September, it's going to be 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you've had some time off, and I mean, I guess you've been working so much. It's not like you've got
I've been working a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So, so with your job at the police department in the media relations there.
Media relations, exactly.
So, it, as I understand, it's not ending. It doesn't really stop,
No, it never stops because the police is always on the streets. There's always someone who needs help. The work never ends. Yeah, 24/7.
Yeah, already like her phone was going non-stop already. There's two phones here. They're going off like Christmas trees, bing, 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 bing all the time.
Yeah, that's what's happening. All day, every day.
Yeah, okay. Does it get a bit much, such a media job?
Sometimes it does, but we have such a great team, so it's kind of worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think it's good. It's a lot. I do have a lot more personal time than I had when I was a journalist. Because right now, when I was a journalist, whenever I walked on the street or had my day off, I was always looking around with the eyes of a journalist. Whenever something happened, I was there, I was working, I was ready, I was doing it. Now, on Saturdays and Sundays, if I'm not on call, I'm not even touching my work laptop.
Oh, good. Okay, so you do have some days like that.
Exactly.
That's nice. That's tough as a journalist, right? You're always okay.
And it was very tough to get over it as well, because I think for the first 6 months or so at the police, I was kind of working with the same drive. I was doing the same amount of work, and people kind of told me that hey, you can actually chill out, and and not kind of do so much, because you don't have to do overtime. It's okay if you don't get everything done in one day.
Yeah.
You can plan out your work. It's all fine. But in the journalism area, you kind of when you do something, it has to be quick. It has to be now, or otherwise your competition will do it for you.
Yeah, sure. And that's, like we were talking about before, just the media. And it just, to me, the media these days just seems like there's a canoe and there's a lot of water in the canoe and there's a big hole and we're just bail.
It is. It's been interesting to watch the media from a different perspective for over a year now. Because before, when I was into it, or I was in the industry, I was kind of blindsided and I was very protective, which is very normal for a journalist. You have to do that. Otherwise, you're not a good journalist.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's been very fascinating to kind of see how sensitive to the media I actually am.
Yeah, from the other perspective.
Yeah, from the other side. Yeah. And kind of explaining to people what to consider when publishing something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, what would be some examples of, I don't know about individual examples or like some examples of the way are they twisting it? Are they misrepresenting facts? Are they leaving out facts? Are they selectively picking? Everything
you said is actually happening in media, but I don't think it's kind of, I don't think it's the journalists' fault. It's just since the tempo is so high, they do not have the time to concentrate and to go deep into a topic, and that's not their fault. That's how the media houses work today, and they do not have the time. Their editors do not give the time, and I think that's the issue. But I have one thing like on my mind constantly, or like I did talk about it on the Tissident Instagram as well when it happened. It was when Louis Sille-Kadri was still a minor, and some publications posted her bikini pics with headlines like, "Oh, look at the body," like showing great figure, and I was like, "What? It's a minor. She's 17. Okay, she's a couple of months from 18, but it's still, she's legally a child.
Sure.
Can you not?"
Now, where did they get these bikini pics
from her Instagram. Like, if you post the pictures on your Instagram, it's not for a news outlet.
Not really.
If it's not a newsworthy event in your life, then I don't see the point of publishing them.
Sure, just because they want the clicks.
Yeah.
Which is like, you kind of said it earlier, kind of like, they're making money from this.
Yeah, exactly. You're making money out of a child's body, which is twisted. It's not what you should do. And they were making, they were writing news articles about her and her new boyfriend. Oh, look at them. They're so cute. They're doing this and that. Still, a minor.
Sure.
Like, it's the only argument I had against them. And
you're 17 as well. Do you really need them all just talking about you and your boyfriend? Like,
exactly.
Jesus,
and even if she turned 18, it's just, I don't think it's okay just to kind of devalue her of her medals and all the things she's won and made of herself. Because I would understand the article when Louis Sille-Kadri put on a bikini and skied a tournament like that. Yeah, okay. Fine.
Made a big public thing about it.
Exactly. But when she's just hanging around the pool and wearing swimwear like everybody does, it's not news.
Do you think that is something they would do to any female in the media? That if
it kind of looks like that, because a couple of weeks ago, I think one other tabloid published bikini photos of Yasmine. She's a young rapper. She's, I think her father was Joel DeLuna, an African-American artist that came to Estonia, married an Estonian woman. So she's exotic looking, like the media likes to present her. And they published her bikini pics, but when she talked about racism and serious topics, nobody picked it up. So she publicly said that, hey, Elu24, hey, Kronika, like, why aren't you publishing me now? Why are you showing my butt?
And of course, no reply. Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, sorry, we've got a few clicks coming
Yeah.
in. We've managed to bail the bucket out of the canoe just one more time.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, this is why I hate the media, everybody. I know. I'm full just turn on a fucking camera and start talking to people. And, the only hope that I think we have these days is that at least, and this is not defending it, you can build somewhat of your own platform.
Yeah.
That if you are intelligent, that if you do have something to say, you can have the podcast or just the blog or just talk about it or whatever, and you can attract some people to you.
Of course.
But even that, it's like, I just want to be a singer. I just want to be a rapper, but now I've got to also build this serious
and now
second
I have
channel.
To have valid opinions on stuff.
Right.
You don't always have to have valid opinions on different matters. I kind of think I like the artists that don't budge out of their line of work. They do what they do it well. Not everybody has to be opinionated on everything. It kind of sounds stupid most of the time when you're not an expert on something, and then the media or whether yourself you wanna express how you feel or what you think. If you're not an expert or if your opinion isn't very innovative, then maybe just keep it to yourself.
Yeah, we don't want to be known for that because then people start to associate that with you as well.
Exactly.
Now, okay, maybe rappers are, I guess there can be rappers who don't want to have a point. That's fine. You don't have to. Maybe some cool. might be, just want to do their thing.
Yeah.
Because it might even be harder. Okay, maybe a rapper can have a social conscience in their music and
course.
do that. So maybe there's that angle that could be acceptable. But let's take comedian.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just come out there and say the ha-ha-has.
Yeah,
and then
you don't have to be publicly opinionated about very critical stuff happening in the society. But if you want to, that's very welcome.
Sure. Huh. I don't want to I'm not trying to fire up too much about what's happening in the world and in America, right?
Same.
But I think the thing that gets me is that when people are like, why haven't you spoken out on it? Like, they're just, I want to fucking strangle everyone who's virtue signaling and being like, why haven't you spoken? Well, fuck, you don't know. Maybe I'm just sitting back and listening because I want to get some viewpoints and say something reasonable. Like, they're like, you should have said it. And it's, it gives me the
I've
fucking
kind
shits.
of had the same mindset for now. We recorded yesterday, and at the end of the episode, we told people that it was a very conscious choice not to address the issues in America or with the abuse of power by the police there, because we want to entertain you. We know all the shit that's going on. We're very aware of it. And we don't want another medium like sticking it down your throat without you wanting it.
Right.
So it was kind of an hour to take off. Yeah.
Yeah, some people want that.
Yeah, exactly. And I've been very quiet about it myself as well, because I just want to see how it goes. I don't want to give out opinions I might regret later. I think about it every day. I read about it all the time, every day. I keep myself posted with everything that's going on, and it's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't think I have to say anything about it, because there's enough opinions out there already.
I don't watch the news, and I'm trying for my own sanity to not watch the news. I'm trying to, and so I obviously see all kinds of stuff's going on, and even like before I said with what's the fucking radio guy Kivisar.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and I didn't even know, right? I'd be like,
this isn't a surprise that he talks the way he does. He's been doing the job for 20 years. Hundreds of thousands of people listen to him every morning when they drive to work. You know what he's like. It's not the first time. And now you're calling him out.
Right.
What took you so long? I'm happy they're doing it because it makes them feel better. It makes people feel like they're doing something. But in the big picture, it won't change anything if one privileged white guy is less on radio.
Like one privileged white guy in Estonia. Oh, wow, you've really changed the systems of checks and balances and cultural oppression in the United States by firing an age-old fucking radio DJ. Look, I'm not saying he's good. Terrible things that he's saying, right? But just let's fire him. Like, you got nothing You're like, I want to.
And now when they fire him, then what?
Then what?
He's not gonna change.
Yeah.
The best thing that can come out of it is that he actually learns a lesson. He kind of understands, even if he understands a little bit, that maybe something he has said in the past has been kind of disrespectful. Then it's a good thing if he learns about something.
Right. How to. Yeah, maybe he can learn. Like, just like
people are capable of change, even when they're 55 and working on the radio and saying racist stuff. I think they are capable of change because I've had experiences with my own parents who are the same age as Kivisaar. They all come from the same area, from the Soviet Union, with very closed mindsets, and they have opened up to certain things. And I think it's a lot thanks to me and my sister who have explained things to them and told them why you shouldn't say certain words. It's the Lambo guy again. Or why you shouldn't act a certain way around some people. And they've listened because when you... well, of course, it's not anyone's job to educate someone. It's your own kind of personal responsibility. But if you have the chance and if they are open to it, try. It might change something.
Like, we're going to put all this effort. We're going to sign a petition. Yeah. We're going to share it on the social media. I'm going to, I don't know what I'm going to do, rally around. Yeah. And okay, how about you put that effort into making an education program? If you're that committed, really, you're that committed to this dude is terrible. Okay. Yeah. Right on. Make an education program, present something to the management, work on a greater social thing about trying to, I don't know, developing a code of conduct. I'm not entirely sure, but, I don't think you're that committed when you're just signing a petition to get a radio guy in Estonia fired.
The petition is kind of weird in my opinion, but I like the initiative. Okay. I like that people kind of... saw the point of coming together and doing something, but there's a lot other ways to do something. I know they've written to the radio station.
This is a good thing.
Exactly. Write to people, talk to them. Maybe that's going to make a bigger change. Yeah, just try it.
Yeah. I'm with you as well.
Yeah, because when you attack someone so publicly, the only reaction you get back is protective.
Of course, he's not going to change.
They're going to go to a protective mode. They're not going to listen to you. They're going to be very, very closed. That's
exactly the extremes that's taken the world in the wrong direction. Everyone gets on social media, bad, calling everybody out. And then apparently if you don't do anything, then you also get called out. Yeah, so everyone's calling out everybody else.
Because let's state the facts. He's been working for the radio for 20 years. Yeah. There are a lot of people who love him. Not validating what he's doing at all. Yeah. But if he has an audience, he has a responsibility. And when you see him in the wrong, maybe approach it differently.
Right. Yeah.
Because he has a huge platform, actually.
Sure. Oh God, because then we get into if you're a big influencer, should you be saying something? Oh my God, the responsibility.
It's a personal choice
that comes with influence. Yeah. I think you said he has hundreds of thousands. I'd go for tens of thousands of listeners, but it's not enough people in Estonia.
Yeah, well, maybe monthly, not daily.
Okay, monthly. Yeah, okay, sure. I'm like, they ain't that many people in the country.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been doing, this week, we've been doing open mic shows, and it's been great.
How are the people kind of accepting the new concept of the open mics with not getting in as much as they did before, or with the restrictions?
Fine. Okay, so the first thing, which I'm sure will displease you greatly, is that when people get in the room, they do not give a fuck.
I know, I've seen it happen.
I bet, of course,
yeah,
the whole time.
It's not a surprise.
They don't give a shit about what's going on. They don't really care where they're sitting. I mean, I guess if you're coming to the show, then you're already in that thing already. Yeah. But we're laying the chairs out the best we can. We're discussing with the venues. Venues agree about the amount of people that we can have in and all of this. So it's all trying to be as legit as possible. And some venues are more enthusiastic than others. We did the first show on Monday at Hiupubi because that bloke at Heel Puppy would have had us running a show like 4 weeks ago if we'd agreed.
He was that into it. Yeah.
He was like 4 weeks ago he would have had something. Like we're like, no, I don't think that's we're quite allowed to do that.
Yeah.
It's been cool. It is a little easier, I would say, that when you get to the limit to tell people, hey, we're very sorry.
Yeah.
Because you just go, and you can see, and I know it. Because so many people have turned away at a door we're full. And they want to argue. And I know that, you get to a place and particularly me with my ego, what do you mean I can't get in? And so I get it, but people are a little bit more accepting. You just explain to them calmly, you go, rules. But what we've been doing instead is having 2 shows. Okay. Which we love. So the first 2 nights were not, Heel was one show, then we had Ykskøyk, one show. And but then last 2 nights were again clubby. Okay. 2 shows a night, and it's awesome. Like I think we like it maybe even more. Half as many people in the room, but 2 shows. I think even better for us. Like we don't need to cram them in. Everybody like this. Of course, and it also gives the comedians a second chance to kind of improve right away if they saw something not working. For sure. Yeah. I've now done 6 shows in 4 days. That's and the first, and there's 2 more tonight. We've got Botik tonight, by the way. Shout out. If you want to see some comedy tonight, Botik in Kopli in Thailand. We got an 8 o'clock show. Wait, no, 18. We got a 6 o'clock show and a 9 o'clock show. But you've got to be there at least 30 minutes before to get in because we've still got the limits. I'm not exactly sure. Hella handles all of that. But at least 30 minutes to get, to make sure you're getting in. So we've got 2 more shows. So there'll be 8 shows in 5 days by the end of tonight. My first 3 shows, dog shit. I was all over. I'd written the first set I did in Heel Puppy was just bombed. I was fumbling on my lines. I was just doing stupid lines about food delivery. Like, why am I joking about bowl? I don't know. And then I spent all Tuesday rewriting my whole set, and then even that bombed again. And then what happened? Oh, the first show at Gang Clubby, I was still fumbling over. First show on Wednesday, I fumbled over my stuff, and I was still fumbling. And there was a dude in the front row, young guy, and he's just sort of that really white-faced Estonian guy sitting there looking at me, young and kind of that droopy look. And I was like, bro, you're looking sad. You look like you're about to go, top yourself. And don't do it. And then there's the guy in the third row who's like, don't joke about suicide. And I was like, oh, you know what's suicide? Your sense of humor. Oh, God. And so then, and so I had my first heckle 3 shows in. He's like, not. And I was like, not fun. And then easy, because there's always that thing where someone's opening their mouth and then they realize, oh, now they're going to have to speak English to me. Oh, yeah. It's like, not funny to talk about. He's like, and then we kind of got it. It was like, he's like, don't say it to him. I'm like, well, we can all die, but one of us can't die. It's funny if we all commit suicide, but if I pick on one. And the guy was fair. Like, he was a nice guy. And he's right. And in those situations when someone yells something at you, even if it is like, don't joke about suicide, it's never their fault, I think. Not unless they're a piece of shit, horrible drunk, stumbling around, right? Like, it should always be the job of the comedian to pull it back, to deal with it, to find a way to say it with good humor. Because I think you can joke about everything. Sure. Because the people have a free choice of what they consume. They don't have to listen to it if they don't like it. They can walk out. They can not come. Because, you're not kind of forcing them to be there. They're there because they want to be there. Sure. And I don't believe in picking on people in the front row. Maybe you want to talk to them, share the joke. And it's true. In that moment when I was stumbling. I was not sure. I was like, God, I've got no laughs on that last 3 minutes. What am I going to do? And like, I talked to you and then stumbled over that. And the guy calls me out for it. And essentially he's right. Essentially he's right. There was no cleverness in my joke. I was just going, don't, you look terrible. So thankfully I took a lot away from that, and I got back with shows 3, 4, and 5, 4, whatever. The next 3 were way better. But it's been really great as well to see all the comedians do that. Like all of us had to find our footing again. And even on the first night, that first night at Heel Puppy, I mean, I don't think I did really well, but there was still some laughs. Okay. And I feel that like, fuck, I didn't do it. You know, oh, I feel that wrenching. I feel so awkward and out of place. Yeah. But then I watch Sander, and Sander's getting laughs, but then he comes off the stage as well, and he's got that same And then even, you know, near the end, Ari goes up, and Ari, I think he's doing well. He's doing his thing, and people like him, and it's flowing. But then even he gets off the stage and goes, and that's, I mean, I still feel like, you know, I still wanted to improve. I wasn't like suddenly feeling better, but then I understood that it's all relative to your position. We all felt like we could do better. Like I looked at Ari and went, yeah, you're getting laughs, bro. This is going great. What's the problem? But for him and his own, each with our own personal standards. Yeah, and I think it's great the way they reacted to it, because it's a very good place to get drive for your own good. Yeah, I think it's nice, because when you kind of accept every result you get, there's no room to develop anywhere. Yeah, it's been like that, and it's been nice that we all had to do it as a group, as well, all at our own level, all not of us struggling. Yeah, right? Not just the newcomers, all of us. I had to dig, because for me, I was doing a few sets before the lockdown, but really I haven't done much new material for almost 2 years, because I've been focusing on running the company. So even for me, it's like coming back after 2 years or even longer about finding my footing again and doing that. So yeah, for me, it was getting out of my head, because to me, the stand-up is something, it's not just about being in the moment, it's being, there is a rhythm to it. I think you can write, I don't think you go away and you write like, oh, I've just written an hour of stand-up. You could, but then it still has to be worked on. And that's only an advanced comedian, a very advanced. I know some like high-level comedians who might go away to their cabin in the woods and write their new hour for a month or something 1 year. But then that still has to be worked on there. And to me, that's what works on paper might not work on people at all. Oh, it so didn't work. Yeah. So didn't work for so many of us in those first days. Yeah, I think it's natural. And I kind of... I was going to a lot of open mics last year, and it was very fun to see the guys developing and like kind of understanding the points and seeing how they get better every show. Or even though like even when someone had a very stable rise up, like for 4 or 5 shows later on 4 or 5 shows, and then the 6th one was shit, but the material was same. They were doing the same things, but something kind of was off. Sure. It was it was a good thing to see. Yeah, and then seeing them on the big stage with the whole hour, that's like, it's 2 different worlds. Right. Yeah. And we even have, and I'm very happy to say, there's some women performing as well. Yeah, that's nice. So Piba's doing great. She's getting up there. She's doing all these. Piba didn't get as big reaction as she wanted last night, because she's doing all these pedophile jokes or something. She's this little chick doing pedophile jokes, and even then people are like, and we're like, what? But then there's this other chick doing comedy with us. Her name is Anastasia. Okay. And she's an exchange student from Kazakhstan. Oh, wow. And she's a savage. She's a nice. Kazakhstani savage. And she just tells it right up. She tells about like, you know, just going on these guys and like she takes no shit from any of them. And she also has all these stories because she was in Ratus Dome when it was locked down. Oh, okay. She's getting the food delivery and all that shit. So and that's what I loved about comedy. Like, we just got to hear from someone who's right in the middle of that and her real stories about it. Really nice. She's just rocking it. I really like Biba. She was the warm-up for our last live as well. And we kind of handpicked her because I especially drove to VMC to see her perform, just to know. But I saw her a couple of times before as well. And I think
She's the next big thing in Estonian comedy.
Okay, big thing. Got that leg up with the Tissident live. That's
of course.
That was really the
it's
boost.
all thanks to us.
Launching the career.
Yeah.
You guys, I mean, you're just talking about the live show. So you guys want to do a live show?
We want to do a live show in the summertime, maybe in June or in later July, just to kind of see the people listening to us again. Yeah, the live shows have been very well received every time, so that kind of it's very humbling. It's nice to see everybody come to it, and it's kind of weird to think that people are willing to pay money to watch me talk shit. So yeah, that's also a humbling experience. But yeah, we've been talking about a new live, and the biggest concern is where to do it. Right. Because after the virus, all the restrictions, we kind of don't want to go back to Von Kral because it feels off for the summer. It's like it doesn't feel comfortable for a summertime show. Okay. It's maybe it's too cozy, if you know what I mean.
How so?
It's too closed up. It's too dark. It's like it's too boxy. And we kind of feel like we want to do it outside, but then we have to consider the weather, which is very bad in Estonia.
That's why I thought we could raise this topic and we could actually turn this. We could actually turn this into a client manager session here, but actually talk to you guys about what we think about it. This is a discussion that between the Comedy Estonia admin team and Marianne and Sille-Kadri we would have. They want to do something, and we're like, here's what we think we can present for you and how to do. Sorry, just go into the chat here. Oh yeah, so Pippi was awesome.
Yeah, she was
champagne in the front row. We're gonna do more of them. So there's a lot of interesting considerations with a podcast live, as opposed to, let's say, where we usually do, which is stand-up. Because stand-up, you can do big venues. But I think there is, I don't know where it is, but I think there is a limit to the size.
I do too. I cannot imagine myself performing or like doing a podcast live in front of like 300 people. It seems way too impersonal. I kind of I like the idea of keeping the crowd small, but maybe being more consistent or doing them more often, because that seems to be working for me more. I don't know about Sille, because she's been doing comedy for years. She's been hosting events. I haven't. So for me, every show is improvisation. I talk about what I think on the go. She prepares. She writes stories. She kind of
now we're hearing the behind the scenes. This is what
exactly.
I wanted.
And I just go with the flow. Whatever I feel like on the day, that's what I go with. On the Christmas show, I was quite moody. I wasn't in a happy mood, and I think it kind of mirrored it. I mirrored it on Sille, because there was a lot of nitpicking between each other, and the crowd thinks it's hilarious. But I was just being bitchy and nobody knew.
Okay, and that's how live goes. That's the thing, that you don't know how it's going to turn out. It can be different. And you said, I can't believe people are paying 10 euros for this. They're paying to see that. They're paying to see that. So going back to the venue size, my opinion is that around that, you picked out the number 300. Around 300, I think it's possible, but it's highly dependent on the venue. I know some 300 venues that are extremely intimate. Somehow the seats are arranged. And I know others, I'm thinking of let's take what would be the worst example? Any countryside kotorikeskus that you've ever been to around the country, where it's just a big wooden thing and a stage and a
very high stage, a long hall.
I mean, those things are often 150 to 200, and they're just like dog shit for this. Where I know a lot of other well-designed venues could easily be 300. So, but I see what you mean. That's why it's a balance. So. Yes, I have the Kes on Kes shirt, which you can get from pod.comedyestonia.com, the Comedy Estonia web shop, doing the sales. So outside is a good, I like as a general idea. I'm with you on outside. So there's the considerations we need to think of. So the first one is weather, as you said, right?
Yeah, it's weather. And the second one is the location itself.
Right.
So on yesterday's episode, we kind of put out the idea, if anyone has a courtyard in Tallinn that's cute, that's intimate, but it fits people comfortably, then just hit us up.
Yep.
Maybe we'll be coming to your backyard in Kalamaja.
Maybe. Look, that's really interesting, right? Because it could be different size places.
Yeah.
Because the consideration is that, they need somewhere to sit.
Yeah.
We need to have, we can always bring in sound equipment and, that can be done. Yeah. But it needs to be an enclosed space that we can police, because if we want to sell a ticket...
it's not fair for the people walking by and getting the experience for free.
Yeah, and it does help to keep it enclosed a bit, that it's not just open like some fucking big park or something like that. Yo, Rondo, good to see you, man. How you doing? Good. That helps. And now certainly we have some other techniques that we can use, like with the bucket donations. It's a different style. I still kind of I do kind of think that, because having just a like large park or something with no boundary or something is a little bit, takes away the intimacy. So we want something that we can get people in, hopefully still charge them a ticket, so we can, and that means, yes, we make a bit of money, but that means we can make a good quality experience for them.
So when you buy a ticket to something, you can kind of, that you can dress up, you can go to the show, you can experience something nice for yourself, and you can hang out with friends perhaps. That's a whole night out. That's the point. That's what we want to create.
Yeah. That was actually the first time we did your live show at the No 99, wasn't it, in there? Yeah, that was, and you guys had your own cocktails.
Yeah, we really liked that.
That was cool, and we did a lot of work on the stage design.
Yes.
And I know that probably, let's say, still about halfway through that setup, I was being grumpy uncle producer, and I was like, do we really need to do all this shit? Do we really got to put all that crap there? These huge curtains, this goddamn fucking phone is here. Everything has to be.
Yeah.
And because my mind is optimized for producing shows, which is we're going to do a show, and I know that the best way for us to do shows is to make them as maintainable as possible.
Yeah.
That if we don't have all this long setup, it means we can do more, and it means that, we can pump them out and do more shows for everybody, right? But it was after a while, and I saw it. I guess I saw it come together. Yeah. And it reminded me of the effort. This is going to sound wrong. It's the effort that we haven't put in for years. And I don't mean necessarily in a bad way, like we're putting in low effort right now. But I mean, the very early Comedy Estonia shows, we used to put in a lot of effort, like because we had to really sell them as these concept nights out.
Exactly.
There'd be a DJ playing there, right? There would be all these lights. We would have something maybe in Vabalava. The entryway would be a cool place you wanted to hang out. We would really put a lot of extra lights and do a lot of effort to the inside and the production value. Yeah. And in the start, we kind of had to really do that because people didn't know what we were.
Just to lure in the people.
And get a thing going. But then eventually we sort of, as things grew, and we were very thankful for that, we're like, okay, we need to just do shows 5 nights a week, and it's hard to put in hours and hours of prep work and have a DJ at every show.
Of course.
And then we worked out, okay, people are just coming to see the Sandra or the Ari show,
Yeah, they don't care for the...
Yeah. We worked out more maintainable ways of doing it. Yeah. So Sandra still has a DJ on the stage.
Yeah, because he wants to.
Because he likes that stuff. Yeah. So there is still a DJ playing, but we sort of found our optimized way of doing it. Yeah. But yeah, when we got it all set up, I kind of went, oh yeah, this is cool. I see it now. I get it.
Because I want to make the shows aesthetically pleasing as well. Yeah. Because most of the time we're talking stupid things. Like maybe let's have the people something pretty to look at. Yeah, that's kind of my point, because it kind of has to be an experience. Since we're not doing this all the time, not every week, then it should be an event, even for us and for the stage and everything.
It should be. I agree as well. So there's still considerations to think of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very willing to put in all that extra work, and if we find that correct place, like if we find that courtyard, that particular thing that really fits, then I can feel there's a lot of enthusiasm to do it. So so that's outside. We need an enclosed space. Then we got to make sure there's seats for the people, some sort of bar so people can get a drink as well. Whatever the practical laws around them serving of the alcohol there are also very important. Thanks, Rando. Cheers, buddy. See you later. He's hustling out there. Fuck yeah. So yeah, then there's the weather and the outside, and that it's a little bit, because you never quite know with the Estonian weather.
You never know. How's
that going to be? Do we need a backup plan? Exactly. If it's not, how is that going to work? And then the inside's a different story as well. Is. So how to say? So does that mean you're not opposed, but how to say, not sure about doing anything inside?
No. We're kind of in between. We really love the idea of doing something outside, but if we see a venue that we really like that's inside, that's perfectly fine. But it kind of has to fit our mood, and it has to fit the mindset of summer and being free and warm outside and having a nice time.
Sure.
And I think kind of the No 99 filled that criteria, but I think it had some minorities that, like, some minuses that I didn't like. For example, the sound quality because of the area. It was very echoey, and maybe I wouldn't want to do it again there, but who knows?
Well, also that's probably a little bit too small.
Yeah.
In terms of the effort put in. Again, we're not opposed to putting in the effort, but can we do a few more people, find that balance there? And you're right, because it was in the cafe, the entryway to No 99, so it's all stone and that beautiful old stuff there, but it's not very soundproofed. And
exactly.
So, I mean, we'll just talk about the venues. It doesn't matter because they're not like secrets or anything. So one of them was Kino Circus.
Yeah, I saw Fern Brady there. I liked the vibe, mostly because of how she used the cinema screen. So that's a thing we have to think about.
Yep.
How we can use it without it being just our logo on the street on the screen, and that kind of leads towards more of a pre-produced written show.
Sure. It could be, or it could just be you find a visual artist.
Yeah.
And there's some visuals, doesn't have to be a long loop, on some sort of loop. You don't want it too distracting. I mean, it can't just be the zing zap zip zing. Something that's maybe moving a little bit dynamic on a loop or something, to use that. Because as you saw with Fern Brady, the lights that we need to push down on there do wash out a certain area of
the screen.
But you can still, it's still a nice thing to do. So I think some nice designs, a graphic design, something that moves a little bit would help. And then you would still have the flexibility to put something on there.
Exactly.
I don't know if you've got a video you want to show or something. I'm not really sure what else you could think of there. So that's certainly a cool thing. It's a nice number of seats. We've got that, because Kino Circus has that large space at the front.
Yeah.
And the difficulty with stand-up in Kino Circus is that if you only sell the 210 fixed seats, you've still got this massive gap.
Massive gap between the artist and the audience.
Right, which is a little bit harder for stand-up. It's actually, though, something I think we could overcome with the podcast.
Okay.
Because we get a nice big stage, we put some ferns there, we put some extra things to push the stage a little forward.
Yep.
And I think that it would still be okay. The flexibility then is if we're very fortunate to get more than 210, then I mean, Fern was another
extra chairs.
80 or 90, I think was jammed. I mean, that was jammed.
Yeah, it was.
That was old school Louis selling motherfucking tickets at Fern Brady. We were jamming them in. So you've still got some room there to put some people in. But I think it's more, I wasn't super keen to have Fern performing without people on the floor, but that was when Cinelind closed down, and we didn't have a place to put her, and there was nowhere else. So we're like, okay, we'll just do it because we have to. And thankfully, we're very fortunate to sell a lot of tickets, so we could really cram the people in. So the consideration, though, at Cyprus was that now I'm going back to grumpy producer man again, is that it really is a fuck ton of work to set up that venue.
Yeah.
You've got to get the stage has to be brought in, the lights have to be brought in. We can use their sound system, which is okay. And then all of that crap has to be hauled up the stairs as well. And I think last time the rental guys made us do it. So it's like a good solid afternoons. Yeah. You're in there at 12 already, setting that shit up. Again, if it's the right place, it's the right place, and let's do it. But it's a factor to consider.
Of course, and since it's such a big room, the stage is not going to be a teeny tiny one. It's going to be a big one, and kind of to fill up that stage with the aesthetics that we have.
So you got to bring all that stuff in as well.
Yeah. Because last time the Christmas show, I borrowed the Christmas tree from my best friend. I brought it from her from Numme with all the decorations as well. And the lights and everything. Luckily, Von Kral had the cool chairs, which is usually rare for a cinema to have any kinds of props.
We also, didn't we take that chair from the diner next door or whatever, the restaurant next door, I think?
Perhaps, or maybe it was the upstairs theater hall or their decorations.
I remember Hella and I going to the restaurant next door and actually hauling at least one couch from there or something as well.
Yeah, so that's a massive thing you have to think about, how to fill up the stage with not just 2 people.
Right. So, and it's all doable. And again, for, without putting too fine a point on it, at 200 or 220 people, right, then all of a sudden there becomes enough ticket money to make that worthwhile. Yeah. Because that also means, and it's not just like, oh, Louis needs a payday. It's also that requires myself. That will probably have Henrik and Hella. So that's 2 staff members all afternoon. Exactly. And they're set up to do all of that as well. And you guys want to get a little compensation. We want to get a little compensation. So you got to factor all of that stuff in. But also, artists at your level are still about building. It's not all about the income. It's about building something. It's about making these great experiences that will pay off even more later.
Yeah, because even though we get a little bit of... bonus money out of it, this has never been our intention. Sure. That's why we're so appreciative of it, and that's why we want to do these things. That it's not about the money. It's never been about it, because when I started, I worked for Delphi, and they kind of offered me a platform or a way to do it, and I just kind of took the chance out of my own free time. Never have gotten paid for a cent for it, and that's. I think that's the biggest thing you have to consider about when starting a podcast, because a couple of days ago on the Estonian podcast Facebook group, there was a discussion about Kirsi Chili. I don't know if you know the podcast.
Oh yeah, with the
Victoria Villig and the reason they stopped doing the podcast was because they weren't able to figure out how to make it profitable. Okay. And that's their first mistake, even to think about that.
Sure.
Just do your thing, be yourself. But I know it's her job to be a creator and to create content. So that's the way she thinks. It's also natural. But maybe podcast wasn't for her.
This is very, and this is a subject close to my heart. Absolutely. Yeah. How are you making money from this? How are you making money from all these live streams? How are you? Okay, so you couldn't do it. Right. And I would want to know. Okay, I don't know. Does Victoria Villig have a Patreon?
I don't think so. I think she's just pulling the YouTube advertisement money.
That's how you make money. Like, what's the fucking... How do I make money? That's how you make... That's what you do. And you don't even make that much, but...
And she... because she also uploaded... Like her podcast was on YouTube. Yeah. So just monetize it.
Okay. I mean, even that... I mean, okay, yeah. How many views do you get? And... Yeah. Like... Because I think... all of the lockdown we've had I'm trying to say, we don't do monetization on the stand-up clips with Comedy Estonia. So typically not, because the first thing is we didn't want to interrupt the experience.
Yeah.
So we definitely never, ever, ever, ever are we going to have an ad in the middle of a stand-up clip.
Yeah.
Because it obviously breaks the flow.
Of course.
We are experimenting now with, on art, some of Ardado's videos do have ads, and we're just trying to see maybe before people don't mind a short, whatever that short 5-second one. We have had the monetization on all of the Kulapod Kodus episodes.
Yeah.
And then technically this one too. But I know we don't get huge, you know, we're not getting the thousands of listeners to really make a dent.
Yeah.
But I think over the whole summer, if you want to go back and look at all of the Kulapod Kodus episodes, I think it was 15 or more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many they did. Hours of that. We've got Ari, we've got Sandra on different episodes. I think all up, they made about 190 euros worth of income. So that is, so what, 15 episodes, 2 hours an episodes, 30 hours with some very well recognized names on a live stream. Over that, 30 hours of effort, of at least output, notwithstanding the effort that you put in to make that, the stuff that it takes, the gear that it takes to do that, for 190 euros of income. Now, maybe Miss Villig is getting higher numbers, absolutely. Just to give you guys, because this is the big thing, everybody wants to know and doesn't know. And half the reason that we started to monetize Kulapod Kodos at Kodos and even Ardados is that we didn't know, like ourselves, and we're like, how much? No one, you know, no one's. It's really hard to get firm info.
Yeah, of course.
About what you're gonna get. I'm still trying to think about how I feel about Ms. Villig not doing the podcast because it's not getting monetized. Now. We can now, obviously, I don't know her full story. All I really know is what you've just told me about this. And absolutely, all the rest of it, I'm extrapolating. Lewis could be extremely wrong about many of these things, and he often is. I do tend to think overall that you need to view your podcast as it is not a vehicle in itself.
Yeah, it's not.
It is a vehicle to grow. To me, the podcast, if you are, let's say, okay, you want to be a celebrity, you want to be a media personality, content creator, call it whatever you want. The podcast is a mechanism for people to get more of you and become more invested in you. Exactly.
Since I have no intention of becoming a media person or a content creator, the podcast for me is a way to kind of express myself on my free time. Just a little extra to do sometimes when I feel like it, but I wouldn't. Yeah, because when someone's a YouTuber or a public figure and you follow them on social media and you see what they do on YouTube, then when or if they have a podcast, I feel like that should be kind of a little bit of an extra from them. I shouldn't be feeling as a consumer that it's something made for them to make more money out of. Because a podcast is a very intimate form of media for me personally. So I wouldn't feel comfortable listening to a podcast knowing that it's trying to sell me something all the time.
Sure. I think that trying to sell you something is an interesting thing. I think a very broad statement would be that Ms. Villig's fans are often younger. Yeah. And younger fans are less discerning and less able to pick through what's selling and what's not. Now, I'm not saying she's doing this. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying only what I observed of more great general YouTubers, that the ones that are really appealing to younger people, like, get away with some shameless shit because their fans can't quite put all the things together yet. Now, I'm not saying that, absolutely saying that that's how she acts. Not at all.
No, on her video, she's very clear when something's sponsored, when something's sent to her for free. That's very clear and that's very appreciated. Sure. Yeah.
I think that the way to view podcasts is a long-term investment in that. Now, okay, you monetize the videos. Now, this is a much more monetizable thing. We're making something. Not only are we getting the YouTube revenue from that, We're getting, there's sponsor deals and product placements, I guess, in the Insta or something for an influencer of that level. I feel like that what the podcast is doing is setting you up for the future, because we're listening. It has to have an effect that, I mean, let's say you and Sille, how many episodes you done?
66.
66 episodes.
In almost 2 years.
Right. What's your average length per episode?
An hour.
Okay. 66 hours of listening. The people out there.
There's even more, because the first episodes were like maybe 2-3 hours long. Right. So we have about 80 or 90 hours of material.
That there are people out there who have sat and listened to that. I have to think that willingly, no one's put a gun to their head.
Yeah.
I mean, listen to Sille-Kadri. maybe. That does something. That imprint something in people's minds. That is way, I think it's a longer game, and it's way more powerful if you even want to achieve those goals that someone might want to achieve as an influencer to
have someone listen to you talk for 70
hours. And it's not like, I want to make money, but fair enough. A young influencer wants to have a career, wants to be able to keep going, is a little bit worried that is this whole thing a bit shaky, and when can it go away? The way you guarantee that? By doing long form podcasts and getting people super on board with who you are and your personality, because that's what you're going to, essentially, as an entertainer, without sounding crass about it, that's what you're going to be selling for years and years to come.
Exactly. I'm with you on that. And I've been kind of thinking about all the podcast industry, like growing in Estonia right now. We have a podcast in Estonia that they sell a subscription for their episodes. So you listen for 30 minutes and then it says, hey, cut. Now you have to pay 12 euros for a month.
12 euros.
Yeah, for a monthly subscription.
Isn't Netflix less than that?
Yeah, Netflix is 9 euros. And the content is better. The podcast itself, I have listened to one of their episodes early on. Not my thing. It's fine. Not every episode. Like, not every podcast has to be a favorite of mine. But I kind of don't get why would you? Or the kind of the decision that we make with Tissident is solely based on things that we would like or what we would hate. Me as a consumer, I would get so fucking annoyed when I listen to something, I've committed half an hour of my day to it, and then they're like, oh yeah, and the rest is available when you pay us money, because we talk behind of a microphone. Yeah, so fucking what?
But I guess you're gonna start listening knowing that. It's not a surprise.
I didn't know it before.
Oh, so you listened to one episode and went, what the fuck is this? Huh. It seems so short-sighted to think you're going to make money out of that podcast.
The content is not that worthy of the money they are asking. Like, it's not an investment podcast. It's not. I mean, they do have guests, and the host is a writer, let's say. Well, he's written a couple of books. But I don't know.
You have to give before you receive.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just start a podcast as a business model. That's not what a podcast is.
Yeah.
Do something else.
I think you might find that now, certainly out there internationally, there are people using that model.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm just going straight off the top of my head, I think Sam Harris does something similar.
Yeah.
But even Sam Harris being Sam Harris, you can get a free subscription to him. If you just write to him and go like, hey, I don't have any money, he'll give you one.
Yeah.
I think Peter Attia, MD, does that as well. And, fair enough. But they're people who are independently famous.
Yeah, they've already done something to earn the privilege to ask money for what they do.
Sure. And I mean, there's a lot of information in a Peter Attia podcast. A lot of, he's got these great, So, and they've got teams and, guys, that's what riles me up as well. Even, I mean, it was very, we were discussing with Comedy Estonia because, okay, we're comedians who have had zero income. Zero. Except for 190 euros of YouTube income. Wow. Besides that, yes, that's what we've earned. Remember, and we earned that. It wasn't just Carl and Ardo. They've had all the guests on and all that. As a group of what, 10 guys, we've all earned 190 euros in 2 months, in 2.5 months. I mean, it's this question of like our open mics and that they're free. And I have to be the voice of the business here sometimes. And I say, guys, we're all running low on money. The money that we use, we have a shared pool of money that we use to pay for our open mics, like to get there, buses, petrol, accommodation. We call it the bucket. That's like our name for it. And it's like, we keep it as a shared pool of money. And I was, my job to do, I said, hey, why don't we just for the first 2 weeks charge a ticket to open mics? Why doesn't just like, then we guarantee we're going to just 2 weeks, we rebuild the bucket money a little bit. We got a little bit put away for the rainy day. Sometimes we'd buy some gear with it that we need as well. If some of the comedians need something to do a project, the bucket also contributes to our Podbean podcast hosting. Yeah. So even the podcast doesn't pay for our podcast. Live shows pay for our podcast. And I said, hey, why don't we just look? It's lockdown. Yeah. We got only a few people per show. So why don't we just ask for a ticket for 2 weeks? We guarantee a little income. We get rolling. We go back to free. And the overall response I got from the comedians were, let's not. Okay. They're so committed to the free model that it is paying off for them in the end. Like Sander and Ari are 150% convinced that the reason that they are enjoying success today is not only that they've worked hard, not only great fans, but because we give first. Yeah. We give and we give with these free open mics. Yeah, and I kind of understand the guys, because when you're not sure of yourself, when you're just testing out material, you don't feel worthy of someone paying to see you do that. Sure. So I think it's that aspect as well. Yeah, and even that, and that's why I wasn't saying we should always do it. Yeah. I was just like, in the first days when we're still locked down and there can only be 30 persons per show, why don't we just charge a few euros, guarantee that income and all that. And, and again, they're very patient with me. They explain, no, it's so important that we maintain that free thing. And this is, as we sit here, Mariana, and you and I, we're clearly fucking geniuses. Of course. And we clearly know so much. And I mean, exactly the same way that I guess we see those podcasters and we see them trying to monetize straight away, and we kind of know that it's not true. I am also really confused as to why no one else in live events in Estonia seems to be following the donation system that we do, that the bucket system for Comedy Estonia, that when you leave, you can leave a donation at the end. If you like the show, it's up to you. Yeah. Some people leave a little more, some people leave a little less. Some people go like, oh, have you got the card? I'm like, okay. But people are free to choose. And we stand there and we say, thank you very much. We appreciate you coming to our show. No one does that. And I'm like, we've so conclusively proved this works. Yeah, but I think it's a strange concept for an Estonian just to start doing it, because we're, as a group of people or as a nation, we're not used to handouts, if you know what I mean. So it feels weird to ask someone for something unless you've proven you're worthy of it. I think it's kind of a slave mentality still, a bit. I think it kind of triggers it. But I don't actually see any other form of entertainment other than stand-up that should be able to use it without it being weird. And look, and I get that it might be if you're singing a band, I'm playing a guitar player. Yeah. I mean, okay, so there's certainly some aspects. I agree that it's extremely suited. Yeah. And we didn't come up with it. We saw this happening in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and different other comedy festivals around the world. And we said, hey, this is a great... And not only that, and so it's not like we're fucking geniuses. We saw it happening somewhere else. Like, oh, good ideas in Estonia. We just ripped it off from somewhere else. Yeah. And not only that, we were able to see our friends who are international comedians explain to us the technique, explain the, for lack of a better term, tricks and methods and ways of introducing it. And then we learnt from that and we said, yeah, but I don't know. You're happy to sell a ticket. You don't mind having, I don't know, do you want people at your show or not?
Yeah, I kind of get it. But otherwise, Estonians are not great tippers either. Like, we don't have like the tipping culture, and maybe that's why it feels strange to us as well.
Both sides. Okay, both sides, the giving and I do a little bit. Like, there was like last night, one of last night's show. I stand there and I'm very appreciative. But sometimes when I see someone dressed nicely, like I see an older person who's come, like to an older couple, and like you're a little bit not old, but just like, you know, what if you're 40 or something, like you stand out at our shows and you've got some nicer clothes on and you don't put anything in the bucket. I'm like, motherfucker, what? Which is the wrong attitude to have, and I internalize it. And I remember Louis has got to stop getting angry at things. So,
yeah, I kind of see it as a difference of just oh God, my English is so rusty. I've been quarantined for 2 months. Okay.
Jesus, you're speaking perfect for an hour.
I think just it's difference of generations.
Okay.
Since I've seen it on my parents as well. Maybe 10 years ago they were like, oh, why should I leave a tip? Why would I? I've come here, I've paid for the ticket, or I've paid for the meal. They're good. They're done. But actually, you kind of have to see the extra effort the artist or maybe the server does, because being an entertainer is kind of also being in the service business. You know, you're they're at the end of the day, they're customers that are paying, kind of.
Sure.
It's a weird way of thinking about it, but it is what it is, and I think it's a great way to show appreciation, but it's a little strange for Estonians still. It's okay with the younger people. I know when I first started coming to the open mics, I didn't know about the buckets, and it was the end of the month, and I only had like €7 for the next 4 days to live off of, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give 3 away because I should. That's what you should do, because it feels, it's kind of like, it just feels polite.
Yeah, and I do have to remember that if I, how to say, if we're asking for a donation system, then it is the correct thing to say you may or may not contribute, and that's okay. And I do understand that, don't worry. And I do appreciate that, and that's, yeah, it's all right.
Because I've had situations after getting to know the guys, when I've walked out of the open mic and I still put something into the bucket, because it's a way of showing people how to behave. It's setting an example for others as well. And the guys will be like, oh, why are you doing this? Why are you putting money in our bucket? Because I want to. Sure. Why wouldn't I? Because maybe next time the 40 or 50-year-old people who walk out without putting anything in, maybe they're behind me this time.
Very
good. Maybe they
receive
a good example.
It's certainly easier in a group, and that's one thing. If you're a band, even a couple, or definitely a singer-songwriter, I can very much appreciate. It's like, I got to finish that and then run to the door or then walk around. Now, I don't know, maybe there's some different techniques that could be used. Maybe that exactly thing. Also, another part of it for the comedians is that we use it as a way to instill pride in the comedians and their work. I was talking on the one of the previous podcasts I just did, I think the last proper one I did, with my friend Phil Schwartzman, who was an American who used to live in Helsinki, and we started to do comedy shows together. This is 10 years ago. In the very first days of Comedy Estonia, I was living in Helsinki running a English comedy night with him. And he was the one, this loud, over-the-top American guy, who had the idea, like, we need to stand at the door and thank people.
Yeah.
Even they paid the money, whatever, the 15 euros it was at Helsinki, right? They were paying the money. We're like, thank you for coming to our show. And I was like, oh, he's right. Not just to hide in the backstage.
Exactly.
And for us, it's a point of pride with the young micers to know, no, you stand there. It's okay. You can be proud. You tried.
Yeah, exactly. And it has the same effect as when actors do a show on a theater stage and they bow at the audience after.
That's a nice thing.
It's kind of the same thing, you know. Comedians say, okay, yeah, thanks, that was my time, I'm gonna get off now. And then at the door you're gonna say, and you're gonna look at the people who were laughing with you, and yeah, I think it's a nice thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just to show appreciation to the audience.
Yeah, I guess that's it. Like in whatever forum or format that you communicate or entertain or do your thing down, you've got to find the system that works to show that appreciation. Hopefully not hide from the audience in your own way. I get it. If you're playing guitar on the stage at Kapika and then thank you, that's my time. Yeah, you might actually want 5 minutes to chill. But look, I'm going off the top of my head here. Maybe that could be just standing at the bar talking to people for a while. And yeah, absolutely. Some days you're going to be fucked and tired and I want to do it. But that's what, it's cool. I mean, if you want to make those fans, if you want to make that, okay, we're bringing it back, that emotional connection to your fans.
And making them feel like they know you personally. And it's also a great way to say thank you for people, to the people that enjoyed your art, because you're giving out, you're an artist, as a comedian as well. And it's a great way just to be appreciative of the people willing to enjoy what you do. Because they don't have to. They've chosen to.
This is true. And it's right. And I think that, look, we're always trying to be appreciative, absolutely. But it can be sometimes, you're doing 5 shows a week. And it's difficult to sometimes have that time when you're working, when you're constantly going to really give that personal touch. And that's what I liked again this week. We really had rediscovered that personal touch. And we're really appreciative that those people are at those shows and we're all pulling together, like, that time. I want to go back to, we were talking about the venues that you could do things in, right? Where we could possibly do a Tissident live. The next one. I don't know if I have a lot of ideas. I'm not over sure if they're all good ideas, so I'll throw it out there. What about a movie cinema?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it today. We used to have kind of like not a sponsorship, but just a partnership with Cinnamon. And
is that Cosmos, you mean?
Yeah. We were giving out free movie tickets to listeners who wrote about their movie experiences, whether they were a bit sexual or not, or just funny. And we were actually thinking about doing a show there, but then the girl who worked for them switched jobs, so that connection was kind of lost.
Okay.
But yeah, I would like it.
Because maybe that one is... Because Cosmos has obviously the huge room. We're not talking about...
Yeah, and they have 3 smaller ones.
They have smaller ones, right. Okay. So that's a possibility.
Yeah.
If that is... I also... was liking that because even if we have to bring in the stage and all that, we don't have to haul it upstairs.
Yeah.
I was like, we can just back the truck up to the front of Cosmos and wheel in the stage. And that's actually loads easier than hauling it up those stairs.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, because Cosmos has a special place in my heart as well, because my great uncle was, his company built it.
Oh, shit. So okay, what year was that? When was this?
Oh, it was in the 60s perhaps.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, it was, I don't know when it was built, but it was back then.
Yeah, okay. It's
even my parents perhaps didn't exist. It was way back then. And the place kind of holds a special place in my heart. And I've liked the interior design that they've done now after the renovations. And I'm very happy that they left, that they kept the original sign. That's very, very iconic to the building as well. So it's very cool.
I once did, they had a conference or something in that room. Yeah. And I once did a stand-up performance in the big room.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, so you're standing on the floor.
Yeah.
Looking up. And it was, I felt like I was looking up at the Colosseum.
Yeah, it has that effect.
Yeah, just like I'm doing stand-up performing like this, or at least I'm getting paid. Okay.
Oh, God, yeah. Even if you're going to the cinema and you have the top floor seats at the big hall, I'm afraid of heights. And I get a bit wonky.
Even those ones?
Yeah. Like, because it's so steep.
Yeah.
It's very huge, yeah.
Okay. So one of those movie cinema rooms as well. I think that movie cinema rooms are not good for stand-up comedy. I don't let fucking anybody, Apollo, tell you that it's good for stand-up comedy, Apollo. No, it's not. And I'll tell you why stand-up comedy is not good in a cinema room. It's because cinema rooms are designed to absorb sound. Their walls are padded. They got special stuff. That sound is meant to go into the walls and disappear.
Yep.
Comedy, or at least stand-up comedy, needs rolling laughter. We need to hear it bouncing around a little bit. We need to keep it rolling, where sort of it just sucks away the sound.
Yeah, it's kind of like a lifeless show.
Yeah, and there's still people laughing. And if you ever sat in a comedy show, you know, like, if no one's laughing, you find it funny, but you don't laugh, where laughter is infectious. That they're laughing, and there's a little bit of echo with the laughter that kind of gets you going. And the cinema room is the opposite of that. It takes it away. And I do think, though, it could work for podcast. Because you're not going for that laugh constantly. Yeah. We're listening. It's maybe comfortable. We're sitting in our chair. Just like stand up, I don't want you too comfortable in your seat. I want you to be like, I'm watching.
So that's why the seats are so uncomfortable.
I know. I deliberately break a few chairs just to make sure that, but I think it could work nicely in a cinema hall. For a podcast as well, a little bit more relaxed kind of feel. So
sure. We have a comment. I'm like 120% sure that the next Tissident live will be in the middle of the work week, and I can't come. It's kind of been a strategic move for me to do it on Thursdays.
Okay.
Because I feel like taking away someone's Friday nights is a much greater responsibility than having someone see you on a Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, we don't do, even the comedy, we don't do much stand-up on the weekends.
Yeah.
Maybe theatre shows. Okay, we're booking some theatre, Sanders tour, Ari's tour or something. Yeah. But like, for example, this week, okay, we've got tonight, but then no Saturday, no Sunday show.
Yeah, because I kind of want to leave the weekend for personal stuff for myself and others. And it feels... because when you're going out on a Friday night, it has to be extraordinary. I can't bomb on stage then. I can't be awful.
I think that's a factor, though. That is definitely a factor of Estonian culture plays into this.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of countries, cities, and cultures and places where midweek, it's just like people ain't going out. Like we still co-present some of the big stand-up shows, some of the bigger artists that we bring to like Tartu and Tallinn and Riga. We still do them in Finland as well. And, my team that are working in Finland, they're like, Tampere, it has to be Friday, Saturday, or this shit's gonna bomb. And I'm like, what? It's a famous comedian that has been here before and we've sold out. Like, no, it's gotta be the weekend. Yeah. And that's, you're living in Tampere. What do? You go to work, fucking Nokia, I don't know who's still employing people there, and you want to kill yourself because you live in Tampere. Oh my God, what is this? It's not even in the capital city of this goddamn forsaken Finland country. And, but even in Tallinn, it's people are very willing to come out. Yeah. Even people that work are willing to come out on a weeknight.
Yeah, I think it's much affected by the weather and the climate that we have. In the wintertime, it's dark and nasty, and you kind of want to experience something positive, anything. And in the summertime, you feel like you don't want to waste the day. You want to experience as much things as you can. So that kind of works for the entertainment system as well.
Yeah, it's easygoing, and maybe Tallinn's not such a big city, and we're still... Carter's asking, when are we bringing Estonians? When we bring the Estonians in Finland? Some more quality Estonian comedy again. First of all, quality, no guarantees. All right, I'm saying they're quality. Maybe some comedy. I don't know. Like, when can we? Finland's a weird one for us. Like, I don't know. I don't love being in Finland. I don't like being in Finland. I don't know what it is. So we try to just get in and get out. I'm not sure when we're going to do... we were supposed to do Sanders' show in Helsinki. I don't think we've rescheduled that date again because, it was international travel. Yeah. So...
You can't really know.
Yeah. And but now it looks like, okay, pretty soon that could be a high possibility. by autumn of, I mean, it's Helsinki.
Yeah.
I'm also hoping, we're actually thinking we might go to Riga and do an English show because we can't really import English comedians or something right now. So we might just go down and take the Estonian boys and do an English show in Riga for the Latvians.
Yeah, there's another interesting comment. I really enjoyed the photo shoot with Tissident girls. Yeah, that's something we enjoy after shows too.
Yeah.
But something we've talked about since the coronavirus has been laid upon us. The next live show, we are actually thinking about minimizing physical contact. We can still talk to the people after the show, and we can hang out with them, but we'd kind of feel more comfortable without any physical contact with people with whom we don't have physical contact every day.
Okay. Yep.
Just considering our safety and everyone else's safety, because we don't know what might be.
This is a good one. Okay, so this is cool.
Yeah.
This is something we just need to plan for.
Yeah, exactly.
We have a plan, and like you would want any time really, if you're going to have, and you have great fans who a lot of them do want to get a photo with you or talk with you guys. So at any time we would have a situation where a lot of the audience want to talk to the crowd. We've always got a plan somehow.
Yeah.
So, wait, Silla's here. Don't worry, Mariana. I'm the one who fucks up on stage. I poured liquor out my outfit during the Christmas show.
She did.
Oh my God. How you doing down there? Sille-Kadri Sima is in Lithuania right now. Tell us how you doing, Sille? You been hitting the bumble? Have you found a dude? We're going to go to the bar. Are things happening in Lithuania right now? It's 5:30, I guess. So she's probably had, 4 or 5 drinks?
Yeah, most likely.
Hitting the town in Lithuania in Vilnius. So we got to come up with some plan for, is there a way that is there some way we could set it up that there could still be a photo, but it doesn't look awkward that you're like a meter away from each other, or still,
We have to think about that because I don't want to cancel the taking selfies part at all, but we kind of have to figure out an innovative way to do it, perhaps. Yeah. All
right. Well, if any of you are listening who are fans, you've been to the Tissident show, maybe write in the comments if you got some idea about how we can keep a little distance or keep it safe, but still have that interaction and still talk. Yeah. We'll find something. I mean, could be sitting on that couch. Group shots, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll work on it as well.
We'll think about it.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be good. Now I'm really looking forward to it. Tissident Live. Yeah.
We're kind of figuring out, should we do a topic show or not? Because since Sille has re-entered the dating scene.
Oh my God. Sounds like grand doors have opened.
Yeah.
Her Majesty
and the bridge has fallen down over the crates. Yeah.
Crocodiles are snapping, but no, Sille just walks through.
Yeah, so we were kind of thinking about maybe doing a Tinder special for the live. Since I've been on and off Tinder for 4 years maybe or something like that. I've hated the app, deleted it, and then I was like, well, I'm kind of lonely. So or whenever I've been in a relationship before, of course, I've deleted it. But
do you use Bumble?
No.
Why not?
I don't like dating foreigners. That's the huge difference between me and Sille. She's all about everyone from wherever except for Estonian. I'm like, no, I like the Estonian emotional unavailability. Yeah. That's my thing.
Sille told me she was talking to a guy. She said she was talking to a guy a bit. And, whatever I don't know what level. I don't want to give away the details. But I said, so where's this dude from? And she just fucking stared at me and went, Estonia. And I almost fell over.
Yeah, that's a hard one to believe.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Huh?
Oh, God, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So what's with the dating policy, Martin Helmer? How come?
It's not a policy. It's just... It's kind of turned out that way. I've tried. I swear I tried.
It's fine.
But I feel like me as a person, I'm not that extroverted, and I feel like it takes a lot of time for me to know and to trust them and to let them into my life, even a little bit. And if there's somewhat of a cultural difference, or I'm not saying an ethnicity difference, that's not the issue, but I feel like when I have to make such big efforts to make myself understandable to someone, it's very draining for me.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just, or maybe I just haven't met the guy.
No, and it's legit.
Who knows? Yeah.
It's totally legit.
Yeah, because but I do have a thing for Russian guys, though.
Oh, duh.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had my worst and best dates with the Russians.
Okay, with the Estonian speaking Russians, like ethnically.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's weird.
But that's still, same culture in not just same, but like, okay, living in the country of Estonia,
exactly. Like
understanding
foreigners living in Estonia and being aware of what we are as a people or a nation, that's fine because they have the background already, and I don't have to be the one like pulling them through all the shit that we've been through.
Sure.
And that's fine, but meeting a person who's like, oh yeah, I just moved to Estonia, I'm just getting to know the things, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be your tour guide.
Yeah, you don't want that. Like that's nah.
Exactly.
You gotta watch that as well with these fucking foreign dudes, right? Because here's the problem, right? Especially because dudes moving to any country involves difficulty, as you say. You don't want to be the tour guide. You don't want to be the one, and if dudes have something done for them, they will just subconsciously expect it to be done in the future. And I want to say like dudes are, it's just like, it's a kind of guy thing. If the woman starts doing something, it's just really subconsciously, it just goes, well, that's what she does.
Yeah.
And I've seen it happen a lot of times. There's a foreign guy moving to the country, and then with the girl, and then she's like, well, I want to help you, and of course it's a really natural kind of thing, and it's a little bit easier for her to do a whole bunch of stuff, and that could be even things from immigration, that could just be social stuff, having a friend group letting in, and that could just even little things like talking at the store or getting something out of that. And it's very natural then for the woman to want to help, of course. And maybe, feeling some level of responsibility, feeling self-conscious about their culture. But then it goes on. And then the guy doesn't learn to do it for himself.
Yeah.
And she keeps on doing it. And then she starts to grow a resentment towards that. Because now, if a dude hasn't done something for years, it's very hard for him to get it out of his dumb shit brain that he's got to now do it. So it takes... And look, these things are not impossible to get over.
Oh, of course
not.
But
they take conscious effort and work to kind of get over that.
Yeah, and I just know myself enough to know that I'm not the person to do it.
Sure, it's totally fine.
Yeah, because I've been someone who's moved to a different country, who's been culture shocked, and I didn't have anyone to kind of take my hand and walk me through it. I had to do it by myself, and I think the experience was only greater because of it. It was more authentic.
It's a lot of responsibility to have someone move there, particularly if they move there for you. This is too much.
I would not. I could never.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get you. So fine. So, no, I hear there's a lot of cultural things, small things. Look, it's not easy. To integrate with a group of friends and to form your own social group, you need to find your own social group.
Yeah.
Even something like with the Comedy Estonia crew, we say that English is our language of work and Estonian is our language of pleasure, for lack of a better word. That sounds wrong. Of hanging out. Because when it's work, I'm involved and we're doing it and it's fine. But like when it's after hours and we're just sitting around having a beer, I don't And if I'm the only foreigner, I don't expect them all to be speaking English. And I do appreciate it takes a bit of extra work to speak in another language and express yourself.
Yeah.
And they're just trying to chill. It's after hours. We're eating some food, having some beers. I don't expect everyone to just keep speaking English because of me. So, you know, you have to find your own ways around that and either accept it or... I mean, then you're in a group. So, okay, you can maybe at a party have a private conversation with somebody, but that's different in a group. Or just accept like that is how it is. We're getting a little bit more international now in our backstages because if Caleb's there and I'm there, then we're more likely to kick around English straight up. And then maybe there's a few more international. So it's all of that. But it's... You know, I think it'd be the wrong attitude if I'm going like, well, if I want to hang out with my friends and they're all going to speak Estonian, it's like, well, that's just, well, yeah, I live in fucking Estonia. That's how, you know, and then is it my fault? Yes, I'm a dumb shit, not learning the language. Yes, I'm not.
It's a hard language to learn, let's face it.
There can also be, okay, I was talking to, who was I talking to? I was talking to a friend of a friend yesterday outside a gang club, and there was this fucking obnoxious drunk dude who was hassling. He was hassling me. And like just like typical Tartu, old, weird barfly sort of person, right? And all the time, because I have that joke that I talk about, like, that people come up to me like, why do you live in Estonia? Why you live in Estonia? Yeah. And I just finished doing that bit on the stage. Yeah. We're standing around having a beer, and the weird old drunk guy at Merkel comes up to me, oh, you speak English, why do you live in Estonia? I was like, look.
Oh, God, look, that's the reason I hate it. Yeah,
it happens. Yeah. Right. But then you could see my Estonian friends, and even there was one newer person that was just hanging out talking with us. They almost like take the responsibility onto themselves. Like, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I know. Oh, it's just, I'm like, no, it's just a fucking drunk guy in a bar. Like, happens everywhere. There's nothing Estonian really about this. Yeah. But you feel a level of guilt if that happened in your country towards the foreigner. So extending that back to, you know, you dating a foreigner or something, you could be every negative thing that might happen to them. You can feel a little pang of guilt. Of course. Like, oh, my country did that to you.
Yeah, I understand it. And also when being in a relationship with someone who has moved because of you, that might get very toxic.
Ooh.
In a way that when they do such a change only for you, and then you have the responsibility to kind of integrate them to your friend group, to your family, and perhaps, as you said, the guy forms a habit of you doing everything for themselves or the girl, and they don't find their own friends, they don't have their own community of people. So there's just you. There's codependency is very easy to form.
I think so. You need to as a foreigner. I mean, anyone moving any place, you got to find your own friends. Yeah. Work can often be it.
Of course.
Actually, comedy is a great thing to do. We got our girl Olga down in Melbourne, Olga Loshenko from Comedy Estonia. She took the visa, she went to Australia, and she's doing comedy. Yeah. And she's got friends, and it was an instant thing that she could step into.
Of course.
Particularly with comedians, because we all, even though we're around the world, we all do have a similar... Yeah. You can walk into a backstage of a comedy show and know, hey, these are comedians, and have something to talk about.
Of course.
So you've got to find, these common things. A lot of people might get it through work. So they've already got a work thing. If you're not, you gotta. Yeah, no one's moving anywhere for me. I don't want to know. What do we got? Sille, Marianne, let's make cardboard cutouts of ourselves.
That shit's expensive.
Sille, there could never be something that could live up to you. Have a cardboard cutout. There's
what do you do with them after? Do you put them in your apartment or what?
Yeah, what do we... Riley.
Maybe. Yeah, you can read
maybe play with perspective and Tissident girls standing further back on the stage. So, okay. That'd be such an Estonian sort of looking for the effect. Would be like having a tiny person on your shoulder. Okay, we're going to play with perspectives.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Sille saying, I don't want to talk about it. I assume it's about the drinking.
Yeah. Okay. She's in that bar right now. Yeah. I go get some booze. Sille, you could say, is the booze more expensive? I would like to know that in Vilnius. Like, is it Marianne was saying
I
that
don't
it's...
think it is. I was there on the, I think it was 2017.
Okay.
When the Kings of Leon concert was there. And I had been a non-alcoholic person because I can't say sober because I haven't been an alcoholic, you know. And it was my birthday, and I decided that, well, maybe I haven't been drinking for 2 years. Maybe I should get a mojito for my birthday.
Going crazy.
And I did. I drank 2 sips of it. I was drunk. Very drunk and very sleepy, and that was the end of the night for me.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Cheap drunk. Okay.
Yeah.
Cheap.
Of course. And I think it was like under €3.
If we have this Tinder live show, could there be anything interesting by you guys Tindering live?
We could try.
Somehow we get a pad, an iPad or something. There must be a way to connect it up to the screen, get a HDMI out of the screen, and then you guys like flicking through.
Yeah, but that
are we then?
that
but is
might
that like
be an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, is that picking on people?
Showing their information, but still they have chosen to be on the app, so they know other people see it.
Right. Is it picking on them? But then it's girls. It's not. I was sort of thinking for a moment.
Yeah.
Is it bullying? Is it picking on someone? You know what? I'm like, pull it together, fucking pansy. If you go on the fucking Tinder app and you're putting your shit out there, trying to be like, no. You know what we're gonna do? Chicks are gonna make fun of you. That's it. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's what's happening. That's what's happening in group chats already.
Sure. And absolutely, there's a gender imbalance there.
It is.
If me and I don't know. Some guy, me and Tim, decide we're going to swipe on girls live. That's a terror. Like, that's fucked. That's a horrible thing that we would never want to do and like swipe on girls on Tinder and then judge them. That's fucked. But I think it's funny if you do dudes.
If we judge
and
guys,
if dudes.
It's also kind of discriminative, don't you think? But I don't know. The feminist in me doesn't want to make fun of men because they're not. It's not their fault sometimes. The way they turn out to be.
Like a dog. It's
because
not your fault.
at the end of the day, it's been women raising them. It's our fault.
Okay, it's some good ownership there of the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, is this a comment on the fact that, you know, most y'all don't have dads anymore or something? Is that what you're trying to say? Like all the daddies ran away?
I have a dad. I'm good. I have an ex-boyfriend who tried to play the daddy issues card on me, and he tried to do something, and I was like, yeah, that just makes me throw up if you say those things. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work on me. A lot of the guys do have the illusion that all girls have daddy issues. I have mommy issues, and that's some deep shit. Mommy issues kind of turn you into an overachiever. You're never happy with yourself. You have a strong will of showing everybody you're very independent. That's all on mommy issues.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why.
So you think, and so a daddy issue might be a dependency issue.
Yeah.
Where instead I'm trying to get too close to men.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get a replacement
Of
for
course.
that.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah.
And I have the opposite of that.
Okay.
If someone gets too clingy, I'm out. I can't. Nope. Yeah,
I do want to say that maybe there's Estonia. Yeah, well then you're in good company with these Estonian guys. But I know plenty of dudes that are clingy. I know plenty of dudes that are because they don't have that emotional independence themselves.
Yeah, because they never had to have it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think they never?
Because some guys have kind of walked through life from their mom to their girlfriend to the next one and next one and next one, and they've never actually had to live through any emotional pain. And that's kind of the women's fault as well, and all of society's fault, because we keep pushing the opinion that men have to be strong, they can't cry, they can't show emotions, because then you're a pussy. But I think that's so wrong, and that's a weird perspective to have, because we all feel the same things. And why are we telling half of us not to show them?
But what does that relate to, though, that if women have... Okay, they've had the mummy who's looked after them, and then they found the girl, and the girl sort of fell into a similar role or something like that. Okay, and you could blame the women, but I mean, I'm
not blaming the women, but
take that one and quote it. Okay, but also then, could we not also say that that they didn't have a father figure who showed them how to be independent, who showed them how to...
Yeah, or they had a father figure who showed them exactly how to behave to be dependent.
Right, okay, because he was dependent as well.
Yeah, a couch potato who never did anything for himself.
So these guys, they need to get it together. They need to, I don't know, be a bit independent. They need to spend some time.
Yeah, because... what I've seen on Tinder is a bunch of guys who do not know how to be a grown-up, like how to do basic things, or like.
How do you tell that from Tinder?
Well, conversations.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not just by swiping.
Yeah.
that would be weird. I'm not a psychologist.
I'm like, this is some good tips I need to put in my profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like, I've noticed that people are, when a guy breaks up. From a relationship, and people are, well, who's gonna iron your shirts, or who's gonna cook for you, or who's gonna do all these things? But well, he has hands, he has a brain, he's capable of learning.
There are dudes who have women cook for them?
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to cook for anyone because I'm good at it, but I don't expect someone to cook for me just because of their gender. Right. That's fucked up.
Well, you think maybe it's a 50-50 or some sort of at least decent ratio.
Yeah.
Sometimes he cooks, sometimes she cooks.
Yeah, exactly. Whoever has the time and opportunity. That should be with everything in a household, actually. If you have the time or the skill, whoever's better at it does it. That doesn't mean... I know a saying that if you don't want to do something, be very bad at it and nobody will ever ask you to do it again. Okay. That's kind of not the technique to use in a relationship.
No, not really a healthy way to move that forward.
Yeah. For example, I'm very bad at peeling potatoes. I am it's criminal. I'm very bad. Whenever I peel a potato, half of it gets lost. So when I find a guy who's better at it, I'm very happily willing to let him do it.
Thankfully, potatoes are cheap. It's okay. You don't have to worry about half a potato. We can deal with this.
Yeah. It's not like a truffle or something.
I don't know, yeah. Dudes who can't look after themselves. My technique as a foreigner, so there are trying to be independent, and I think that I've done reasonably okay in Estonia for two reasons. One is that I already fucked it up in two other countries. That I moved to Sweden and Finland.
You had enough lessons.
Yeah, I bombed in both those places. That I learned how to be independent for myself. Yeah. Learned how not to rely on somebody. Learned that you're gonna have to suck it up and do all this shit for yourself, and it's gonna be a bit hard. My other technique for this was that sometimes when I needed some help, I get my employees to help me. So my thinking was, well, at least they're getting paid. It's a job. But then even that, obviously, not even your employees can do everything. There is a time when one needs to go down and do it themselves. But there's almost nothing in Estonia you can't do for yourself. And even if I think about the things that I'm getting help with, I should be doing them myself. Because there's not, in Estonia particularly, you can work in English in all the departments now. It's not, I used to be afraid of the Monetization, the roads department. Yeah. But I got my license out at the one at Mustamäe. It was fine. Like in the old days, it was scary. Yeah. When I first came here, when I first registered my first Volvo, but this is how scary, the one at Mustamäe that everybody knows, where you go to, most people doing their driving test at. Before it was renovated, and maybe 5 years ago, I'm not sure, they used to have a cafe out the back of the Monetization. Because right now it's just, if you walk in, there's like on three sides, there's rows of
the boxes,
right?
Yeah.
But it used to be, if you walk in and you're looking at the back, in the back left corner, it used to be you could walk through. Yeah. And there was a cafe out the back. Okay. So I want to say we're going back 10 years ago or something. And you could walk out the back of the roads department and there was a cafe where you could buy alcohol. You could buy booze at the Monetization.
That's a weird concept.
It's so weird now I think about it, right? But it was like, everyone was just like, well, of course there's a cafe out the back. That's probably where you're getting your lunch.
Yeah.
And of course, like every
You can
other
have a
little
beer with
cafe,
it,
you have a
yeah.
beer there or take a shot or something there.
Wow.
Thankfully,
And that's
not
on
anymore.
drunk driving. Wow. Yeah, that's strange. Oh wow. I just recently figured that I've had my driver's license for 5 years now.
Okay.
And I was quite old when I started the process. I was 23. So yeah, usually everybody like gets to it right when they're like 18. Like in the final grade in high school, let's do it. I want to drive my BMW. But yeah, I was a full ass adult when I started it.
Good. I was advising my friend James to, he's English and he's got to do the full exam here. He doesn't have any license. And so for me, because I had an Australian license, you used to be able to just swap it.
Yeah.
But not anymore. So
Okay.
maybe 5 years ago, they changed it that I still had to do the theory exam.
Okay.
And then I still had to do a driving exam.
Okay.
Actually, I didn't know until I got to the practical driving exam, until I sat in the car, that my exam was only 30 minutes.
Oh really?
Not an hour because of the swap thing.
Because you've had obviously experience before.
Driving, I
Yeah.
guess. But I still had lessons because I know,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many.
There's certain rules that you have to abide
I
just to
wouldn't
get
know.
by.
I'm sure
Yeah,
y'all
just
don't
to
know it
pass.
as well. So
Of
I took
course.
lessons anyway. But the difficulty that I had with the driving exam was that the English version it's so badly translated.
Oh.
It's such terrible,
theory one, yeah?
incorrect. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you sit at the computer, that you can't make out the answers.
Okay.
Like you don't know what the answers are.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the grammar is so poor that you can't work out the question.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's because it's not just like A or B or C or D. It's like A and D is
Yeah.
the answer. And you got to have both of them. So the only way, and as I understood many Estonians, the way they pass the driving exam
Yeah.
is they get the book, and the book has exactly the same questions.
Yeah.
So they just wrote,
The same formation, so you just basically just memorize. them.
memorize.
Not understand or learn, you just memorize.
Memorize,
Yeah.
right. We don't have that equivalent in
Yeah.
English. So there is some information that is published by the Road Authority, and even that is quite new, but they haven't updated the exam.
Oh.
So
okay.
I did the theory exam 5 times.
Oh, wow.
In an effort to just basically brute force
just
it.
pass, yeah.
I just brute forced it. There was one question that I didn't know what the answer was, and I got it wrong on the 4th, and then thankfully it came up again on the 5th. And
Yeah.
that's how I managed to scrape through it. And if I trace it back, if I talk to some friends of mine who other foreigners who have been here longer than me, I reckon I can place it at about 15 years old. At least from what I can
Yeah.
talking to other people.
Yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
of
it
all the
is.
things that are so technical. Because that's
Yeah.
weird. Like in Estonia, because we're so like, oh, we're E, and we're so
Yeah,
open to the
everything's
people.
e-government,
When
yeah.
something's not, I think it stands out
Yeah, even
much
more.
more,
Yeah.
right?
It might even not be that bad.
Yeah,
as
yeah,
it looks,
yeah, exactly, right? I mean, you go to Latvia, you're up shit creek.
Yeah.
You got no hope. But yeah, one little thing here, and we're like,
Yeah. This is bad. Oh wow. Yeah, I did my driving test 5 times before I passed.
oh, the
The
practical one.
Yeah. I'm an excellent driver.
What happened? Why? What were you getting tripped up on?
The fault was on me actually because I had the learner's permit as well. So my dad, my mom, and a couple of my friends were allowed to sit next to me so I could drive. And I did it for 1.5 years before starting the exams because the lines were very long. You couldn't register. And I formed habits in traffic that the examiners didn't like.
Okay.
Like I was driving like everybody was driving, but you can't drive as you would actually drive in traffic in the exam. So that was my issue, yeah.
Okay. You didn't have some like lessons with a proper instructor?
I did.
or something?
Before the 5th time, I was like, okay, this is the last time I'm ever gonna take an exam. If I don't pass, I'll never pass.
That's great. It took you
Yeah.
4 times to get through
Yeah.
this. Up the 4th, like, oh, maybe I should get some lessons now.
Yeah, exactly. And I was I took 2 lessons from a guy who had previously been an examiner for the Montamet, and yeah, he showed me what they expected of me and how to do these things, the way they would be pleased. So yeah, then I passed.
Glad you got through.
Yeah.
Because I thought I was doing an hour thing, and I sat down with the gentleman, and he's like, it's 30 minutes, and we drove around, and there was nothing hard.
Yeah.
And I'm still glad I did the lessons, but
yeah,
that was because after 5 times of doing the theory, I was like, this, I was fully prepared. Okay, it's going to be another 5. This is going to be rough.
Because after like the 4th exam, I failed. I was like, maybe it's not meant to be. I was quitting. Like I was like, if I don't pass, I don't care. And that's kind of the mindset I went to the exam with. And I think it kind of helped. Because I wasn't nervous. I was like, fuck this shit. I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna drive.
If only it was the old days of the Monetization where you could just get a shot out the back and that would have calmed your nerves. And that would let you. That was the problem, right?
Yeah, because nobody makes you take a breathalyzer test before the practical exam, which should be a requirement.
I think so.
Yeah. Can you imagine going drunk to the driver's exam? That would be
I'm sure it's happened.
Savage.
I'm sure.
Yeah, statistically, I'm pretty sure it has happened, yeah. Oh, wow.
Ooh, getting to the end of the show.
Yeah.
2 hours here. Thank you very much for everyone still watching and still continuing on. And we know it's not lockdown. We know you've got real lives to live now.
Yeah,
proper shit happening, but you're still watching. Thank you. Next week, I unfortunately, Silla, this is probably the first time Silla's finding out about this as well. I don't think we can do next week, unfortunately, because I have a gig to do. I got a hosting for an event, it's a company thing. There's a hosting thing. I'm sure all the rules are being followed. I don't know about that, but that's happening on the Friday. So I'm getting paid, baby. I'm getting money. That's how you fucking make money off your podcast, Villig. You fucking do shit. You prove to people on your podcast you can do stuff, and then they'll pay you to do other things. That's how it works.
That's the circle of life.
Right.
Apparently.
So I think we're not going to do next Friday. And then also we have a show in Marinne that night. But I wanted to do the live stream from Marinne. But anyway, and now I got a gig to do. But tonight, happening actually in 5 minutes' time, is the first show starting in Botik, in Kopli. But we've got the 9 o'clock show as well. If you want to come down, get there nice and early. And but next week we've got Monday English at Kapika show, 2 nights at Von Kral.
Oh, that's cool.
Thursday night in Hielpubi, and then Friday night in Marinne, just because we're a bunch of savages.
That's a packed schedule. Yeah.
Oh, don't show.
Wow.
Cool. So what you gonna do tonight? You can chill out, do some stuff, get some food.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go out with some colleagues because these are the only friends I have these days. Oh, and by the way, I just passed my assistant police officer's exam.
Congratulations.
So I'm getting a badge and a uniform soon.
Yeah, assistant police officer.
Yeah.
So what are the levels that you work up towards?
So assistant police officer is someone who is assisting the actual officer. So I do not, as an assistant, I do not have any rights to prosecute or do any legal activities. So I can make you take a breathalyzer test. I can stop your car. I can do whatever the police officer tells me to do, except writing out fines or any paperwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And do you have any aspirations of going further with this?
Yeah, there's different levels of the assistant police officer thing. I'm on the first level now. Yeah. So after I've done 60 hours of work, correct me if I'm wrong, I think since the last law change, it turned to 60. I have to have 60 hours of work experience, then I can register to the second level, and then I can start the process of getting a gun. So I can start training.
Okay, yeah.
And then I can do the exam, and when I pass the gun exam, which has very strict regulations and requirements, then I am allowed to carry a gun while at work. So that means I can be the second member of the patrol, which means there's the actual officer and me and no third person. So yeah, that's exciting.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm aspired to do. Yeah.
Do you think, is there some possibility long term that you might actually go be a proper, I don't want to say proper to disrespectful.
Yeah, the real,
like,
real police officer.
A real policeman now. Is that something you want to get to, or you think that?
I don't think so. Okay. I think it's the same as it is with photography for me. I want to keep it as a hobby, as something I can do out of my free time that I love, that I like, and that I don't depend on it.
Right. I imagine it's very good as well for your job in communications to understand what's happening out there on the front lines. So I can see how it would very, very much help.
Yep.
Cool.
So you can see me on the streets soon.
Don't fuck with her. Okay?
Yeah. I know how to take you down in 2 moves.
Damn straight. Did they teach you? They teach you some level of self-defense?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, sure. Is it any particular brand of particular martial art or something, or self-defense skills?
I think it's a mixture.
Okay, sure.
There are just many different techniques, and according to the situation, you're taught how to use all of them.
Cool. Okay, we want that non-lethal force. We want something that.
Of course, and in any situation, physical contact is the last opportunity or like last choice. At first, we are trained to talk to people, tell them what we expect of them. If that doesn't work, then we would give an order. And we have to give a reasonable time for the person to understand, acknowledge, and to follow the order.
Of course.
And if that doesn't work, we have to let them know that we have the right to use force on you, just so you'd know. And if then the situation doesn't get better or get resolved, then we use force.
Well, I would say, as a spokesperson for all foreigners, self-appointed, and my friends who are foreigners, and when we talk about this stuff, it is, at least the foreigners I know, universal that everybody speaks well of the Estonian police.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now, obviously, there's a lot of different foreigners. I don't know their experiences, but because I think it's okay. It's basically Australians, Americans. We're like, these guys are way nicer than the cops in our country. Way. We in Australia, we have a different relationship to the police because we came from the convicts, and back in the day, it was 200 years ago, it was the British soldiers with a policing thing, and we've grown out of that with the fucking crazy racism and shit in Australia. And so for me, my instinct is still, when I see a police, I'm going the opposite direction. If I see them on the street, I don't want to, if they're in the car, I'm like, I don't want to be driving near them, because and this will, the higher amount of time that I spend near a police officer in Australia, my feeling is the higher chance I have that they will interact with me, and that probably will
end in something that will be negative to you.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to say they're going to beat my ass. I just mean like they're going to give me a fine. They're going to find a problem with something that I've done. That's it. Where in Estonia, I have not had a bad interaction with the police. They've all been, every single, and I don't condone speeding, but every single foreigner has spoken to me and said, wow, I got let off by speeding by the cops. They're way more lenient than they are overbearing, and this is a nice thing.
And for me personally, I think the police should be an institution that you have to trust. You have to be able to approach them when you are in need of help, but they have to be an authority.
Sure.
You have to respect them, and they have to kind of, it's a bad way to say it, but like not to show force, but they have to be forceful in presence, if you know what I mean. They because that's how you are influential.
Sure. Respect her authority. Yeah. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. We gotta get down to the show. Marianne, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for asking me. It was very fun.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching the live stream. See you later.
Bye.